What's up, everybody? It's Isaac, and I'm here we're going to walk around my new PK Ripper that I just picked up this week. Super stoked about this bike. Um, I think last time I did one of these, like, is it the right bike for you videos? It was right after I got the Big Ripper, and I fell in love with that bike. Absolutely changed my life, and so now I'm going to talk about, what is it, 6 months later, almost close to 6 months. SC Racing released the 27.5 tire sized PK Ripper, and I am in love with this bike. This thing is incredible. Absolutely adore everything about it. It's not perfect. There's only a couple things that I would change, but hey, you can't get a perfect bike unless you build it custom. But as far as a just out of the box, how good it is, it's worth it and it's legit. And from an old BMX perspective, like an old rider, I'm excited to tell you about it. So let's get into it. All right, so here it is. This is my 27.5 PK Ripper. Start back here. All right. So what are my initial thoughts on this bike? It's a little bit bigger. So let's talk about my initial thoughts. We'll start from the back. It comes with chain tensioners, stock, no pegs, but the axles are long enough to where if you wanted to put pegs on there, you could. Shout out to LJ for the Instagram sticker. This is one of the best parts about this bike, in my opinion. The seat post clamp lets you adjust it up or down depending on how you want to ride that moment. Sometimes you just want to ride high and just work on your wheelies and things like that. Drop it down if you're doing combos, whatever. So if you're doing some jumps, you can easily just lower the seat down, so that's great. The cranks are super beefy, and the chain ring, it's an old school style chain ring. It's very 80s. I remember on my first bikes I had those before I went to the Redline flight cranks. The only downside to that is it's kind of difficult to find those chain rings now. That's one of the things that I wish they would have done, is just made that easier to swap out. So for those of you that want to customize, this is a complete sticker. It says PK. The autograph here is a sticker. It's not an actual autograph, but that sticker is completely separate from this sticker, so you could swap this out, keep that if you'd like to. The brushed aluminum looks great, I think. The polished aluminum, I think they're calling it, looks fantastic. The pedals, if you watch the YouTube video, Perry has some bear trap type pedals, but these are platforms. If you look close, they're screws. So if you don't want these metal pins, you actually just screw them out, and you can have regular platforms. There is some pegs right here that would stay, but I don't know why you'd want to do that. It's up to you, I guess. The pads have kind of a carbon fiber look to them, and then it's got this shiny SE. It's not necessarily metallic or reflective, but it's a silver print. The stem, I think, looks amazing. I'll show you the pad first. Walk around, show you the front of the pad. It's just cool old school styling, but I really think that the stem itself looks way better without it. So you have that deep SE engrave here, and then up here, that is really great looking. And then the stem cap, Perry Kramer, looks really good. Really like the way that looks personally. Then the welds look phenomenal. And then you can come down here, we've got the black forks with the landing gear, and then we're coming up on the next big thing here. The sealed hubs look phenomenal. And then you got the disc brake, but it's a little bit different than the typical disc brake, and we'll show you why in a minute. Now, right out of the box, before I even rode it, I swapped it out for the Broke Boys Jacob Santos bars, because I personally love the look and feel of that versus the big honkin' bars that come with it. The stock bars are black big honkin' bars, and a lot of people love those. There's nothing wrong with them. They're great bars. I just prefer this style, and I think Broke Boys just hit a grand slam with how comfortable these bars are. I am going to go with more of a lavender and purple theme as I upgrade parts. So I grabbed the long neck ODI grips from the get-go when I put them on. But the stock bike will have the black Oakley B1B grips, which are, I mean, they're kind of the holy grail grips when it comes to old school guys like me. So I didn't want to put them on there and use them up. I want to kind of hold on to them. So I'm just not using them. So that is the drive side, and back here we've got the PK Ripper seat, and it is a grippy seat for people that like to do combos. You'll be able to sit and do that, and of course it has the bottle opener in the back, so you can open up your favorite beer. They always say beverage, but let's be honest, it's a beer. So you got the level hydraulic disc brakes. That's the other big upgrade that kind of pushed me over the top for this versus the Lynch, the money wrap beast mode, which I was looking at before. I'm going to flip the bike around here. But the hydraulic brakes really sold me on this bike, because I wanted better braking, because I like to do flatland tricks on my bikes because I'm a little flatlander. So this is the other side that triggers people, because I don't know why people just like the drive side when you show off bikes. So it's got an SRAM hydraulic disc brake. I'd love to tell you all the details of this, but I've never run one before. All I can tell you is that it's super comfy, very buttery, super light, easy to pull brake, doesn't mess with your wheelies too much. As far as stock, I've added the Ride Out Splice sticker, the Off One Ripper sticker, the Phoenix Bike Company sticker, but that sticker there comes there, the SE Racing 6061 T6 alloy sticker. I don't know if I really need to go into that. I guess I can. That's the material that the bike's made out of. It's an aluminum frame, and then a chromoly 4130 chromoly fork, and then over here you've got really beefy, what do you call it, like an adapter. It's not an adapter, it's what the hydraulic disc brake bolts to. And you got the SE stamp here on the landing gear. I just love landing gear forks personally. I had them when I was a little kid, so I just have a lot of affinity for the look. There's the disc brake. Now I plan on, at some point, right now it's on the outside, the front brake comes down, it's on the outside of the fork. At some point I'm going to research if I can actually put a hollow stem bolt and run my front brake down through the fork like we did in the 90s, 80s and 90s, so I can do tail whips and stuff on this. But at the time, it was running late. I picked this up at like 6 o'clock at night, so I didn't want to grief my local bike shop too hard about the bike and customizing it too much. So we're going to come back and do that another time after I research if that's possible, or if running the brake cable down here and having it run such a sharp turn here is going to affect the braking or not. I need to research that. So if anybody's done it, let me know. I'm curious. But the thing about the disc brake, I want to point out, because it's hydraulic, it's a lot smaller in diameter. Here's where the dropout ends, and it's nearly flush. So if you run a peg here, which you can because you have enough thread on the bolt, if you run a peg because you're doing wheelie combos and you're jumping back and forth, the disc brake, the cable disc brake, sticks out quite a bit, and you can bump it with your foot. This is in closer, so it'll be easier to do combos on this bike. The other big thing is the wheels, the tires. You can run these tubeless. I opted not to, which is going to make a lot of people wonder why. But in Arizona, what I've noticed is that right now I'm in quarantine. I'm not riding my bike every single day like I would if I was riding my bike to the office. And so if you don't ride every single day and get the wheels spinning, you'll come out and your tires will be flat. Happens all the time on cars here in Arizona because of the heat and we don't have any humidity, so tires tend to go flat, and you'll think you have a flat tire, but nope, it's just because of our climate. So rather than having to mess with the tire pressure all the time, I decided not to at this moment until things change. And I'm back working in an office. I've decided just to run tubes, so which is great. It's an option that they give you. You can run tubes or no tubes. So I have all the parts that comes with it if I want to make it a tubeless tire system, which is great because if you run into flats, basically there's stuff on the inside of the tire that if you pull the sticker out, it will seal itself back up again, and you're ready to ride again, which is fantastic. So there's a look at the hydraulic disc brake on the front, and then back up. So I think I'll do some riding videos now and show you kind of my ideas while I'm riding it.
Hey, yo, welcome. Hello.
All right, so thanks for watching my little walk around and first kind of impressions and rides of the 27.5 SE Racing PK Ripper. I really like this bike. It feels super peppy and kind of more agile, I feel, than the PK Ripper or the Big Ripper. So moving from a 29 to a 27.5, it feels kind of weird to say this and talk about how much I love this bike because I've been such a huge advocate of the 29. Still love the 29. I think it's a great bike. It's super comfortable. I just think I'll probably be riding this bike more than the Big Ripper because it feels more comfortable to me. I grew up on smaller flatland bikes. Like the bikes I rode were like a Haro Master, a Skyway Street Beat, and what's the other one? Like an MCF and the Ozone Method 1. And so those were all smaller top tube bikes. And so I kind of feel more comfortable on a smaller bike. And when I was first looking at getting a bigger bike, when I was looking at even, getting a Big Rip or anything like that, the first bike I rode, and I'm not trying to dog a brand or anything like that, but I rode a Redline. I believe it's either 26 or 27.5. I think it was a 27.5 actually. And it just wasn't comfortable to me. You may love Redlines, you may love that ASOP bike, but it just wasn't something that felt comfortable to me, so I kept looking and found the Big Ripper and fell in love. Now riding this PK 27.5 with the Broke Boys bars, so it's a little bit taller than the big honkin' bars, to me feels perfect. So I'm a huge advocate of this bike. I think it's fantastic.
The hydraulic brakes are a game changer to me personally, because they just, I mean, it's really easy to squeeze, and the bike will, the front wheel will lock up. I was trying to kind of show that with some endos in there, and it's just real comfortable. I was able to do a little Randy, my neighbor kid, was like, called it a 180 nose manual, but to me, when I grew up, it was called a rock walk, and it's just a 180 to 180 thing. Haven't done one since I was probably his age, and tried it, caught it on tape. You can see that. So yeah, I mean, I was able to do a lot of the tricks. I don't have any pegs on the bike now, so I can't do a lot of the stuff that I wanted to try, because it's brand new, and I still haven't ran the front brake down through the stem bolt, so I can't really try, boomerangs or tail whips or anything like that yet. But it's a really comfortable bike, super well designed. The geometry makes it really peppy. Wheelies are super easy on it. And I believe it's because the tire width is wider than the Big Ripper. The Big Ripper has a more, smaller diameter tire, which makes it kind of, you lean one way or the other a little bit. Whereas the wider tire, you're less controlled going left and right, and you're basically just pedal and brake is the only thing that's going on in your mind. So the wheelies feel a little bit easier, and you kind of hear me comment on that in the video, that I feel like the wheelies are easier, and I think it's because the width of the tire is wider. So if you're really into wheelies and that's going to be your primary focus, look for a wider tire. I believe that's what it is. Not sure, but I can tell you this is a really comfortable bike. Really love the way it feels. It responds well. Endos and things like that are super easy, and when you're up in the air, it's easy to kind of move your hips and your arms in conjunction and balance the bike. So all in all, especially if you're an old flatlander, you may prefer this over the Big Ripper. Try them both out for yourself, but it's a great feeling bike, and I can't wait to get some more hours on it to come back and maybe tell you a little bit more after maybe a couple months of trying this out. So have fun, go ride your bike. If you get one of these bikes, let me know what you think. If you ride like a beast mode, maybe you love that. Let me know what you think about that as well. Curious about how those ride. So, but anyway, either way, get out, ride your bike, be safe, and have fun. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.